6:45 on the clock this morning, a live look at the White House. The sun is up in Washington, D.C., and President Donald Trump facing a rare and growing backlash from members of his own party over his immigration crackdown.
So some big name Republicans, including Governor Greg Abbott, are saying the administration needs to, quote, recalibrate how it's handling immigration enforcement.
Yeah, part of that sharp pushback comes after the federal officers killed Alex Pretti, a 37-year-old ICU nurse, during an immigration operation in Minneapolis. Big questions now about whether the administration rushed to judgment in the aftermath. ABC senior political correspondent Rachel Scott is following all of this for us. And Rachel, you don't often see this level of Republican pushback. What's the latest this morning?
Yeah, Mark, you're right about that. We don't really see Republicans coming out in this way, being critical of how the administration is handling all of this. But we have kept a long track of this. And right now, there are at least 30 Republicans who have come out demanding a full investigation. Republican Congressman Mike Lawler is out with a new op-ed this morning saying that Americans do not want chaos and that it's time for the White House to really reassess their strategy here. I'm also told by sources that the president has been fielding calls from Republicans over on Capitol Hill that are very concerned that this cornerstone issue of immigration that the president ran on, that Republicans ran on last election, is now getting muddied in the response and the aftermath to the shooting by so many of top administration officials rushing to judgment here. We saw the Department of Homeland Security Secretary Kristi Noem label it an act of domestic terrorism before an investigation was even completed. Another top advisor, Stephen Miller, declared Alex Pretti as a domestic terrorist, calling him an assassin. It was very notable in the White House press briefing room just yesterday that the press secretary did a lot of work to really distance the president from the words of his top advisors, even saying that she has not heard the president describe Alex Pretti as a domestic terrorist or even an assassin. Even the calls the president had with top officials over in Minnesota, from the governor to the mayor, have been very productive, even though he's been very critical of them. So definitely a change in tone.
Well, and you kind of touched on it, but a lot of this has to do with optics. So Governor Abbott among those urging the president to recalibrate. What is he, other GOP leaders like we see here, our Texas Senator Ted Cruz, what are they worried about when it comes to how the crackdown is playing out visually?
Yeah, Kara, and look, they are worried about what Americans are seeing with their own eyes, and especially how this is going to play heading into a very critical midterm election year. I'm going to be traveling with the president in just a few hours to Iowa, where the message is going to be on the economy and affordability. Republican sources that I've been talking to are worried that all of that is getting lost when so much of the conversation is on what is happening down in Minnesota and whether or not the administration is committed to a full investigation. And that is what we are hearing a lot of Republicans, including the Texas Governor Greg Abbott, who is traditionally on the side of this administration and this president, come out and demand, guys.